Illegal immigration costs the U.S. taxpayers over $115 billion per year. What price can you put on helping your fellow man and alleviating human suffering? I don't know the exact number. Let's say the cap starts somewhere around the 100 billion mark. Question of the day. Is it just me, or does it seem that since the left can't make the Russian collusion conspiracy stick, they've gone right back to calling everybody racist? That seems as though they I don't know if it's just me. Let me give you some context here. Remember the old clip of Trump talking about MS-13? He called the gang members of a gang animals, and then the leftists took a snippet out of context. They claimed that he said all immigrants were animals. That clip just went viral again this week for people who missed it. They're recycling the same old narratives, lies, completely ignoring the crisis at the border. Up to 100,000 illegal crossings this month. So that's insane. What reasons would justify building a wall? Let me rattle 5 off the top of my head. Reason 1, okay? And you can share this with all your friends or people who say, well, give me one reason. 5 here with multiple sources.
We'll make it easy.
Yes. Crime. Yeah. Crime. Did I already say crime is reason 1? I don't know. I got lost in my own train of thought.
You said MS-13, so it's kind of like...
So the left, they often claim that illegal immigrants, you hear this all the time. How often have you heard this claim, guys, that the undocumented immigrant, they actually commit crimes at a lower rate than native-born citizens? Well, let them say it.
But in our sanctuary cities, our people are not disobeying the law. These are law-abiding citizens.
Everyday immigrants commit crimes at a far lower rate than native-born Americans.
Wow. Seems like she went in and said, give me the 60s era Diane Keaton in burgundy, please.
Oh, my gosh.
It's the kind of request that only the insane lament. Notice the language here. When we bring up the problem of illegal immigrants, they pivot to immigrants as a whole. Yep. That's like lumping legal gun owners in with illegal gun owners. Of course, legal immigrants are going to be less likely to break the law because, by definition, they're law-abiding. Their very first action, when they were presented with the option to immigrate illegally, they decided to do it legally. Illegal immigrants show they're 3 times. This is when you separate for illegal immigrants 3 times as likely to commit crimes as other citizens. They make up 27% of all federal prisons, despite being only 9% of the nation's adult population.
Jesus.
I know, it's surprising. That's not to mention, by the way, that every single crime committed by an illegal alien, it's one that could never have been committed had they not been here illegally in the first place. So yes, it's important to remember not all immigrants are criminals, but all illegal aliens, at least in getting here, kind of pulled a dick move. All of them. Every single one of them. I'm okay saying that. Okay, reason number 2. How effective a wall would be. The left tells us it doesn't work.
But would a wall really stop them?
What the Border Patrol says, and I've spoken to a lot of their people, is, look, first of all, if you build a 30-foot wall, all it's going to do is create a market for 31-foot ladders.
Of course. Of course, that's right.
Of course.
So this is where they do the whole, walls don't work argument, and then they go on to argue for Border Patrol. Here's an idea. How about both? Okay? No, none of us are saying, well, I get it. Listen, when I talk about the wall, I am talking about border security as a whole. The wall is really more of just a symbol. It's a pretty kick-ass symbol, though. It's one that I like, especially because it ruffles all the right feathers. Here's the thing, though. Walls do work.
Yeah.
Israel, for example, cut its illegal immigration rate by 99%.
Wow.
Constructing 143 mile
fence. That seems
fence.
significant, actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, granted, some terrorist tunnels, still a problem.
Right.
When Mexico has the destruction of all United States citizens in its charter, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But 99%, it's what we call statistically significant. So, and I know I've heard these people arguing all the time that it's not 100% effective. It's only, neither. Condoms don't work 100%, but you have us handing those out by the punch bowl at the local junior high and the taxpayer dying.
Well, look, if anything, at least
stop. You're cutting off the black people. They were about to say something.
That's privilege.
Black privilege, please.
Come on.
Yeah, what's 100% effective? You got murder laws up. What?
Viagra's 100% effective.
Only for white people.
Turns me into a savage animal.
Like, murder is illegal, but it still happens.
Murder laws not necessarily 100% effective, especially in your community. By the way, hit the notification bell.
That's a low blow right there.
Join up at I figured you could take it with the Viagra armor going on. Mug Club, loudercutter.com/Mug Club. Subscribe on iTunes if you haven't subscribed already. Apparently, subscriptions don't mean anything, and people aren't getting notifications. Let us know. Reason number 3, cost. Democrats have also been claiming that the wall would be too expensive.
The president cannot hold public employees hostage because he wants to have a wall that is not effective in terms of its purpose, not cost effective in terms of what the opportunity cost it is of federal dollars to spend.
Did you just get beat up in Harry Reid's shower? Does TheraBand have another lawsuit coming? All right, listen. If we want to run the numbers, let's use a comparison. Israel spent $2.9 million, I think. Yeah, $2.9 million a mile on their fence. Okay? So if we were to build a similar border wall fence from scratch, again, not necessarily a wall, run us around $5.6 billion, but let's use the most liberal estimates, total costs as high as $21 billion. It sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
Until you factor in studies that show illegal immigration costs the U.S. taxpayers over $115 billion per year.
Huh.
And I can already hear the rebuttals here. I can hear the arguments. What price can you put on helping your fellow man and alleviating human suffering? I don't know the exact number. Let's say the cap starts somewhere around the 100 billion mark.
We've thrown nothing but manpower and money at the border, and it has gotten worse. It is the exact opposite thing of what we should be doing. So anybody who comes out and says a wall won't work is doing it purely for political gain, as if you didn't know that already. But they're also putting lives in danger. Go ask the people that live on border towns. My sister's husband's family lives on a border town in Zapata. It's
Your
not
sister's best friend's girlfriend's brother's boyfriend knows this guy who knows someone who saw Beto O'Rourke pass out of 31 flavors last night, and then he was raped by MS-13.
Not a good deal.
Reason number 4, he likes it. Compassion. This is what happens all the time from the left. This is not unique here, but they appeal to our sense of compassion by talking about kids being held in cages. Will someone please think of the children?
Kennels, cages, dog kennels for human beings.
This is where they put them in. It's like 50, 60 degrees, so you're freezing. So how do you show that you've been tortured?
Right.
The other word is perrera. In Spanish, perrera is a dog cage. Our children, effectively, as the senator said, are being put into dog cages.
Right now, what we are seeing is the violation of human rights. These children and these families are being held in what are called hieleras, which are basically freezing boxes that no person should be maintained in for any amount of time, let alone the amount of time that they're being kept on.
I love how the first commentator says, you know, the temperature is really low, so these boxes get cold, and then Cortez just says, they're putting them in freezing boxes
that are 50 to 60 degrees.
They're holding them in Coleman coolers.
That sounds like good air conditioning.
Upgrade to Yeti, at least.
Because when you're talking about American Border Patrol agents who spare no expense when holding illegal immigrants, they're going to crank the air conditioning up in El Paso.
And by the way, these dog cages, these kennels, they're fenced-in areas is what they're talking about. It's not like a dog cage that sits
never mind the fact that caging kids started under Obama. I know some people have tried to issue rebuttals to that. Well, that's a whole topic for another day. But it did start under Obama. We're just talking about the frequency. The problem right now is nearly 100,000 illegal immigrants cross the border every single month. That's over 3,000 a day. Where do you put them?
Yeah.
You have to put them somewhere, and it's not going to be the Holiday Inn Express. So it's likely going to be a detention center with, like you said, fenced areas, a cage, or a freezing box, as Pinta Nina Santa Maria Cortez calls it. But if we actually secured the border, that would be compassionate. We could avoid families being stranded in these facilities in the first place. It would be the most compassionate thing to do. So if we build the wall and everyone enters the country in a single-file, orderly fashion, that sounds... If you don't, you'll have a lot of brown people sleeping under overpasses and plastic Nassau blankets, okay? Like, that's the thing. They're not saying, we're going to... Do you think even the most racist county sheriff wants to put a bunch of Mexican migrants under an overpass?
Nobody does.
Even if the most, hey, listen, Chief, I'm going to put these brown folk under the overpass. You go, no, I'm racist, but I don't want that PR disaster.
Yeah.
I don't want Don Lemon down here and put me on a split screen. You know what? I forgot what my point number 5 was. 4 is enough. 4 is enough. We'll call this number 5 because it's a nice round number. Yeah. So here's what's happened. We've pivoted, of course, from Russia to racism. And by the way, wait for this in the coming months as it relates to the election. We saw this, remember, when everyone who didn't vote for Obama was a racist, and with Hillary Clinton, everyone all of a sudden became a sexist. So expect to see this with the Democrat presidential candidates. If the nominee ends up being Warren, Gillibrand, the Democrats will start accusing you with charges of sexism. If it's Kamala Harris, then they'll accuse you of racism and sexism and homophobia. They're going to try to paint millions of Americans and law-abiding immigrants, by the way, as racist and extremists. That's what they want to do right now. All of these reasons listed to the left, to people like Nancy Pelosi, to people like Cortez, they think that all of this is an extremist point of view. And to you, I would ask, what's a more extremist view than a nation without borders or laws?